Chapter 1770, Don't Come Close. Weird humanoid creatures? Some terrifying images of lizard men suddenly emerged in Zhang Yi's mind. He immediately frowned and asked, "Are they lizard men? The kind from the Wulwan Empire?" Alexei shook his head. He thought for a moment and said in a tangled way, "They are a group of people covered in heavy armor. No, maybe their bodies are made of steel. They are very strange, but extremely strong. If you go to the Far East, you are likely to encounter them. At that time, I hope you must be extremely careful. It's best to run away." Alexei used the word run away to Zhang Yi, which surprised Zhang Yi. Because Alexei knew very well that Zhang Yi's current strength was definitely at the world's top level. In other words, that kind of humanoid creature could threaten Zhang Yi's life? Zhang Yi said in a deep voice, "Thank you. I'll remember it." After the communication ended, Zhang Yi immediately asked Deng Shintong, "Have you heard of this kind of humanoid creature?"
Deng Shintong also frowned. "No.
I have never heard of the existence of humanoid creatures in those mechanical legions." Zhang Yi remembered that there were indeed no humanoid creatures in the images that Alexei had given him before. "I understand. It seems that they are the manipulators behind the mechanical legion." Deng Shintong said, "Let's go to the Far East first. After crossing the Bailong River, I asked her to wait for us around there." The person Deng Shintong mentioned was naturally his hidden line. It was very necessary to have a guide who was familiar with the local situation when going to Fremons this time. In Shengjing City, there were bursts of chain noises coming from under the dragon locking well. Extending thousands of meters underground, in a huge cave, a pair of scarlet eyes slowly opened in the shadows. The huge creature could vaguely see its shape. As its body slowly crawled, the friction of its scales made a creepy sound, accompanied by the sound of chains colliding. The eyes looked forward and two figures slowly walked over from there. Ho Tu was wearing a black and red cloak, and Shang Daowen stood beside her. The two stopped dozens of meters away from the giant creature. "What are you doing here again?" The giant creature spoke human words, and it was clear Mandarin. Ho Tu looked at the giant creature in the shadow and slowly said, "Something unusual has happened in the outside world. Do you know what it is?" The creature in the shadow was a little impatient. "You always bother me with such troublesome things." Ho Tu said lightly, "This is the contract you made with Huashu country, isn't it?" The giant creature snorted impatiently. "But this world can accommodate me. Soon I will be able to leave, and I will no longer need you." Ho Tu raised her head, as if she wanted to look at the sky through the heavy earth. "Don't worry, that day is at least not now. And I believe that sooner or later, you will also need our help. Then, can you tell me what happened in that cold land in the north?" Faced with Ho Tu's question, the giant creature did not answer directly. He just curled his head into his scales, and the sound came out dull and slow. "I don't know." Ho Tu and Shang Daowen both frowned. But before they could continue speaking, the giant creature said, "But I advise you that there is an extremely terrifying existence in that place. Don't touch it. Don't get close. Even we must be in awe of it." After saying that, the giant creature suddenly became irritable. "Go away." Ho Tu and Shang Daowen seemed to have gotten used to its mood swings, so they had to retreat. After taking the elevator back to the ground, Ho Tu asked Shang Daowen, "What do you think about this matter?" Shang Daowen said softly, "Even he said so, I think we'd better not take the risk. After all, your body has just recovered. Besides, we can't tell whether those things in the sky are enemies or friends. Neither of us can leave Xinjiang." Ho Tu frowned slightly, and the appearance of Zhang Yi and Yang Xinxin appeared in her mind. But they went there. Shang Daowen looked up at the sky, and after a moment he sighed, his breath turning into a thick white mist in the cold temperature. Handan is a man who never takes risks. His ability has the most powerful self-protection ability in the world, so there is no need to worry about him. Let them go, and explore the way first. If there is any benefit to be gained, it will not be too late for us to go there later." Ho Tu pondered for a long time, and had to nod. Except for Huashu country, all major countries and forces in the world have received this invitation. In the Junjing Church in Beidegen, Western Europe, Pope Alexander X sat on the silver-white throne, wearing a wide white silk robe inlaid with gold patterns, which looked sacred and luxurious. It was just that the old chicken skin on his face and dry claws gave people a weird feeling. The holy pope did not look holy, but rather like an old man who was about to die. In front of him, on the blue transparent three-dimensional screen, was Fremonza's letter for help. The white of his eyes occupied most of his eyeballs, and only a small pupil remained. Looking at the request for help in front of him, he had no expression on his face, but the more he looked like this, the more terrifying it felt, as if he were a resurrected mummy. Behind him stood a young and handsome blonde man, who looked only 15 or 16 years old, bowing his head gently and respectfully, waiting for the order of the Pope. And below the throne, on the red carpet of the temple, separated by more than a dozen steps, stood 4 figures of different shapes. A tall bishop in red, with a silver cross on his chest, holding a thick classical, holy scripture in his hand. A knight in silver Templar clothing, with a holy silver cross 2-handed sword on his waist, his hair neatly combed into a big back with hair oil, and a thin and dead fish-eyed knight. A middle-aged priest who was nearly 2 meters tall, with a head full of silver hair, looked at least 50 years old, but was as strong as a bear, and the handle of the gun on his waist could be seen through the open white vestments. And a very beautiful nun who was dressed in black nun clothing and had her eyes closed waiting for the Pope's orders. The Pope casually read the letter for help, and then turned the 2 pupils and his pupils to the 4 people below. The trouble in Huashu country was just solved, and Fremonz was attacked by the underground civilization again. These people who live in hell, sign contracts with demons, and survive in a humble way. They really don't know how to stop for a moment.
As
soon as the voice fell, the sturdy middle-aged priest among the 4 people below suddenly grinned. "Hey!" He put one hand on his chest and bowed. "Your Holiness, let me take the Knights Templars. Whether it is those heretics in the underground world, or those who do not obey God, I will let them see how powerful the power given by God is." The Pope looked at the middle-aged mad dog in front of him, and the corners of his dry mouth slowly curled up. "Don't get excited, Father Orlean. Although those despicable demon servants dare not appear in the sun, they have great power. Even as the Knights of the Apocalypse, you can't be careless with them." Cory Orlean, one of the 4 Knights of the Apocalypse of the Imperial Church, the Knight of War, known as the Father of Discipline, laughed coldly. "Your Majesty, I, who believe in God devoutly, am the embodiment of justice and light. Absolute justice will surely eliminate all evil in this world. Sins must also be judged." The Pope rested his elbow on the throne, holding his face with one hand, but gave a faint order. "Orlean, I will arrange other tasks for you. As for Fremonz this time he raised his left hand and pointed a finger at the tall man in red in the middle of the 4 people. "The Cardinal of the Imperial Church, Knight of Death, Arnold Olib. Leave it to Bishop Olib." Father Orlean's expression suddenly twisted with dissatisfaction, and he glanced at Olib viciously. But Olib just bowed expressionlessly. "I obey your decree, Your Majesty the Supreme Pope." The Pope stopped talking, and the handsome bishop behind him stepped forward, put his hands behind his back, and said, "Bishop Olib stays. As for the others, please leave first." The nun and the dead fish-eyed knight did not have any expression fluctuations, just saluted and retreated. Although Father Orlean looked at Olib with dissatisfaction for a long time, he still honestly left the temple. After the others left, the Pope said to Olib condescendingly, "Last time, we did not participate in the war between the Wulwan Empire and the Huashu Kingdom. According to our prediction, the Huashu Kingdom would suffer extremely painful losses. But I didn't expect that the underground civilization of their country would actually help. And our plan was completely disrupted. This time, in order to prevent such a thing from happening again, you will lead a team of elite Templar Knights to go. In fact, in the last war between the Huashu Kingdom and the Wulwan Empire, Beta Gang had been watching from the sidelines. They planned to leave after the Huashu Kingdom suffered heavy losses and save the Huashu Kingdom as a savior. On the one hand, they can maximize their interests, and on the other hand, they can also take this opportunity to make the Junjing Church the state religion of the Huashu Kingdom. And all of this was finally destroyed by the sudden appearance of Bai Longzi. Olib bowed and said, "I understand." The Pope's voice came slowly. "Once you get there, you don't need me to teach you how to do things. But in addition to dealing with the mysterious mechanical civilization, there is one more thing that you must not forget." A sharp light flashed in Olib's eyes. This time, Fremons has changed. The people who manipulate them behind the scenes will definitely be involved. I will find their people. When necessary, I will deal with them. The Pope nodded with satisfaction. The organization that has been hiding in the shadows under the light and has survived until now is no different from the rats in the underground world who have signed a contract with the devil. One day, they will face God's judgment. And only those of us who believe in God devoutly will be saved. The cardinal walked out of the temple. The snow was still falling outside, but there was not much snow on the square. This sacred place has always been cleaned very clean, just like the snow-white paradise that people imagine. The cardinal came. When he got outside, he saw Father Orlean standing in the square with his back to him. Orlean knew that Orlean was waiting for him, so he walked down the steps. Feeling Orlean's appearance, Orlean turned around, showing his white teeth. He was like a beast that wanted to eat people, and his silver hair was flying up to the sky.
Hey, Orlean.
"Are you leaving for Fremons?" Orlean said lightly, "Take care of your own business first. This world is becoming more and more unpeaceful. After I leave, you have to protect Beta Gang." "Tisk, do you still need to say that?" "As long as I am here, no pagans can invade here," Orlean said confidently. "But I really don't know why His Holiness wants you to go to Fremons." He put his head close to Orlean and said coldly, "After all, you are too indecisive. If it were me, I would definitely punish those heretics with justice." Orlean stared at Orlean. He knew that Orlean was an extreme believer, and his thoughts were as frightening as his fighting ability. However, he still said calmly, "There are still many crises we are facing. The people of the Tong organization are still useful, and it is not appropriate to go to war with them at this time." He knew what Orlean was talking about. Of course, they knew about the existence of the Tong organization. However, many of the top leaders of that organization were mysterious beings with hidden identities. In the past 1,000 years, the Junjing Church has always been in a dominant position in the two organizations and can stand under the sun. But after the end of the world, this situation has been changing. Nowadays, even many high-level aliens have joined them, which is not good news for the Junjing Church. Orlean coldly put his face close to Olib, tilted his head and stared at him, saying word by word, "Heretics are heretics, and being kind to them is a completely wrong idea." Olib, the King Arthur of Britannia, has been confirmed to be a member of the Hitomi organization. If you meet him on the battlefield of Fremons, it's best to kill him. Olib closed his eyes and said leisurely, "His Holiness the Pope said that when I get to the battlefield, I can decide for myself how to act. You seem to care too much." After that, he threw away his wide red robe, walked past Orlean, and walked into the distance. Olib's eyes became cold. He pushed his round glasses made of cold-resistant material and muttered, "Stubborn fool. It seems that I still have to bear the responsibility of maintaining the rules of the church and making this world absolutely just."